here, Tori, and pretty soon I'm gonna give everybody a tutorial on it so everybody can do their own.
Right,
meeting.
right.
Some people may decide they just, well, I think the board's gonna allow chair people to decide if they want to continue with
Hybrid.
hybrid or just Zoom or just in person. I don't know. I think the minimum we're gonna do is hybrid. I don't know if we'll just
Right.
allow people to do just in person.
Right.
All right.
That would be good, but everybody's so used to being at home now. Wow, you zoomed me in really good, huh?
It's AI.
I know. It's probably got the color of my pupils. Oh, shoot.
So.
Is anybody in yet?
Nope, no one's here.
Surprised Donna not there yet.
And then I set up files for everybody on this computer.
Okay.
So you can just normally what I've been doing with Laura is everybody just brings a flash drive and the blue is for the flash drive and then you just upload your documents. But you didn't have any documents, so I just grabbed your
My agenda.
your agenda.
Right.
So. But you can use this if you want to do it. You can use a laptop. We're gonna get a longer
Cord.
cable. Yeah, most of them are long, but this HDMI that connects to the television, we're gonna get it longer so it can extend because all the other cords kind of. Are long
Now,
enough.
you fine, right? Well, this meeting is gonna be shorter than usual.
Okay.
And, Benny gonna do his presentation, and hopefully the young lady will get on, and Donna, Beverly just said she has to go turn her car in, and the usual crew, usual.
And Kareem, who else?
Oh yeah, Kareem. She would have dropped out because he gets off work so late. And Paula sometimes.
Yeah.
And who else? Kareem. The one that donated all the blankets to me? Sarah. She hasn't been on in a while though. Did she move out of town?
Sarah Lacey? Which Sarah?
Long.
Long Henry, who's the secretary with curly hair?
Yes.
Yeah. No, well, she was on account, but she's back.
Oh, okay.
I've been here, this is my third night this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Executive, planning and
That's
zoning.
true.
I just set up for planning and zoning, then I went home and joined the meeting. And then tonight, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do the.
Moves in park.
Yeah. So. And Monday is my meeting, the recreation parks. meeting.
Oh,
I
Lord.
know, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you gotta do something different.
Yeah.
Because it don't make sense. You got 23 people and you can't take turns or do something.
From some.
Okay. Who is that?
Benny,
Who?
Benny.
Benny. Oh, hi, Benny. Can you hear me yet? Hello, Benny.
He's gonna leave the shirt. Is he the person doing the presentation?
Well, he's backup. He's doing the actual slideshow presentation.
All right, so you want to
This is like part 2 of what we finished last month.
give
And
him ability to.
yeah, let's do that. That's pretty. The other person will talk, share her story of how she became homeless or whatever she wants to share.
Hey Benny, I've given you ability to share when it's your turn.
Okay,
How you doing, Benny?
great, good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, we have a couple of guests
Good.
there, one hiding back there, but we had this Betty Joe, and that's Benny. He's over all the assisted care house beds that hopefully none of us will need one day, but they definitely a necessity. Yeah. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started in about 2 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and pretty much according to the agenda, I'm just doing a call to order, a welcome, and a review of the agenda really quick. I mean, it's really short today. And any public comment on any topic that's not on the agenda. And then if the young lady gets on, she'll share her story. And if anyone has any questions for her. And then, well, I don't know why we keep putting round robin on at the same time with your public comments, but. And then that's pretty much it for tonight.
Roger's here, so maybe he has an update.
Hi, Roger.
Yeah, give him a second.
Okay. CD10. That'll be our general public. CD10 update.
Hey, Tori.
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right. Just a heads up. I got a hard 7 p.m. because I got to go to my other meeting, okay? Just a heads up.
You good. We're going to let you do the CD10 update immediately after the welcome.
That's why you're the best.
You are too. We have 1 minute. We're going to get started at 6:30 on the nose. And then do a brief welcome. Everybody pretty much getting ready for tomorrow. I just talked to Eric and Donna and Beverly. So I'll update them tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day tomorrow.
Oh, who you telling? We got a brief meeting in the morning with Lassa on a quick Zoom before we meet with them in person. So I'm going to meet with them twice next week, it seems like. Well, once on the 25th, which is Tuesday, after we meet with Karen on Monday.
Oh, nice.
And then we're going to meet with them in person on the 8th.
Nice. I think it's a nice opportunity for you to talk to the mayor. She's got, her pieces in the right place. She's saying the right things. She's doing the right things. So let's hope she keeps an open ear.
Yeah, because we just got to enhance the process that she has in place right now because it's a waste of money.
Yeah, you know what? I think, I don't think as far as Karen goes, it's a waste of money. I think that now we're actually making good use of the money that, I wish we would have known a lot of the things we do now. Right. But I think now her office and she's making a better use of the money that's available now.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's now treading against, she's treading water because of the past administration and the past misappropriation of the funds, I would say. I think that we put the money in the wrong place because we didn't have the right people in the right place making the right decisions. And I think she surrounded herself with a lot of good people who are giving her a lot of good feedback. And she's bringing people who actually did the work on the floor. She has her own outreach team now, and that outreach team reports right back to her. So that's what I'm saying. We're going in the right direction.
Yeah, it is in the right direction, but to have a 24/7 team to go out and we don't have anywhere to take them after 4:30 is a little different. Hi, Miriam.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So glad that you're going to be able to connect with her on that.
Yes, I'm so happy about that. So I can't wait, to sit down and talk with her on Monday. Yeah. Hi, Miriam.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Who's M8L plus? Is that my surprise guest?
Their audio is coming in.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see it.
You want to go ahead and get started?
Yes, it's 6:30. Actually, it's 6:32. We're gonna go ahead and start the meeting, bring it to order. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight, and I am so appreciative of those of you who've shown up and actually have a heart to work with some of the solutions for homelessness. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Okay.
You can say what you want.
Yeah.
I'll sit next to you.
Okay, sounds good. We're getting situated with this hybrid. We're just meeting in person again for the third time. But anyway, I appreciate everyone who's on board and has come, and they show an interest in the homelessness solutions. And we have some progressive things coming up next week with some important meetings, that are solution oriented with CD10 yesterday and the mayor on Monday, and then Homeless Service Authority on Tuesday. So bringing in the gaps. So I'd like to welcome everyone, and let's get started. We're gonna have the representative for CD 10, which is Council District 10, give us an update. And then, immediately after he finishes, we are gonna ask for any general public comments, and those are comments that are not on the agenda. Okay, so be my guest, Roger.
Good evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Roger Estrada. I'm the homeless deputy for Councilwoman Heather Hutt, Council District 10. Quick updates. 3 weeks ago, actually, June 27th, happy to announce we conducted our first Inside Safe operation along with the mayor's office. We targeted 3 key locations that had people most willing to go in, ready to go in. One of our 3 top priority locations was Jefferson and Wellington, Rancho Cienega Park, and Jim Gilliam Park. It was overall a very, very successful operation. We were aiming to house 26 people. We ended up housing 42 people that day, interimly housed.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was the first time the mayor's office was able to do 3 operations, not just 3, but in a whole day. So
Right.
we set the bar really high. Unfortunately, now they're ready to do more for us. But we're very proud of the work that we did there. It's just the work that we've been doing, since MRT first introduced the street services first approach. When Heather took over, she gave me free rein to pretty much make the program what he envisioned and then some, and make it grow. So
Right.
the councilwoman has been very open into, making sure that she's the one that's the lead on homelessness and new ideas and pioneering just the way we affront homelessness. And we've been very successful in doing so. So that right there was a really big thing that we're proud of that we were able to accomplish. We're now looking to do it in other parts of the district. We have been able to see a little bit more alleviation on, the south side of the 10 freeway. We still got, some areas that we have to work on, but we're very proud of the work we've done. The councilwoman, has been very vociferous now, since she is the head of the transportation committee about handling RVs next and what we're going to do about RVs. So, look forward to seeing more on that end, and just continue to make progress as far as advocating for more interim housing, more permanent housing. We're looking at permanent supportive housing coming up in the district. I don't want to get too much into that before I get confirmation, but if things are looking up, things are looking good. Triple H funded projects are finally being completed, are finally coming online. I know that people wanted to know where that money's at, but it is there. We're happy to announce that a lot of the housing that's coming up will be permanent supportive housing. So, we've been getting low income housing, and that's not enough to keep people housed. We need permanent supportive housing, and that's what we're getting. So we're very happy to announce that. And we're going to continue working on trying to figure out, we feel like we got a good hold on the tents and the encampments. Now we want to step up and focus on the RVs and what we're going to do about those. So I'm open to questions. I'm here. Please feel free.
Well, they're gonna start on RVs before everyone's off the street.
We want to make sure we get the ball rolling before we start with enforcement. So once these inside safes become more common, especially now with federal support, because the federal government is now launching their own inside safe operations, we're going to be the pilot city for it. So we're very happy about that. We should start having more resources available to start enforcing the removal of these vehicles, which, let's be honest, are insanely unsafe and insanely inhumane to have people and allow people to live there. We feel now that after the decision that the judge made on those 20 RVs in Sylmar, that they now see the bigger picture. They see that we're not trying to displace people from a home. We're trying to displace them from an inhumane, unsafe situation, which these RVs are, to be quite honest. And, people are profiting from people who are already in dire straits. So some of these RVs are being rented up to $1,000 by these landlords, and they're not. So we're doing a lot more of this homework. We're doing a lot more of studying ordinances that are already in place. We know that there's one that doesn't allow for businesses to be conducted on city property. So we might, start going after these landlords a lot harder and start enforcing and citing them a lot more. So, it's not as appealing as it is now. Also, we want to make sure that these garages, when they do impound these vehicles, don't put them back on the auction block, because sometimes it's cheaper to buy them back at auction than pay the fines.
That's
So we
true.
wanna make sure
That's true.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that that's addressed. And again, this is all proudly led by Councilwoman Hutt. This is all stuff that she's going to put on the table when they get back from recess. So this is all stuff that she's put the right people in the right places to ask the right questions. And this is why we're coming up with these solutions. So we want to make sure that we're the lead, we're the pioneers, and we're the driving force behind change.
Well, sounds good to me. Any questions for Roger? Anyone else have any questions for Roger? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yes. Go ahead.
Somebody said something.
This is Benny. I do.
No, somebody, a female voice.
Why don't we take Benny first?
We'll let Jenny speak first. It's L.
Oh, hello, you made it. All right.
I don't know if I can be seen.
No, you'd have to click on your video.
I don't know what to do.
Oh,
but at least
Lord. You made it.
Yeah, I'm going to stay right where I am. At least I can see you and you can hear me.
Yes. Okay, you had a question for Roger?
I was going to let Danny go first. Danny, go first.
Benny, go ahead.
Okay. All right. First about Benny Tenson, Executive Director, Licensed Adult Residential Care Association. I want to first say thank you, Roger, for the work that you're doing, and Councilmember Hutt. But I'm the Executive Director of a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are community-based, and we represent over 350 state licensed adult residential facilities and residential care facilities for the elderly. They're more commonly known as boarding cares in the community. And so when you were talking about permanent supportive housing, I was really getting excited, and I'm just thankful that Councilmember Hutt is being innovative and really moving on this issue. And so we want to know how we can help you because we have beds that are available, and we want to fill them. And a lot of times we're not connected to agencies like LASA and some of the other agencies. And so we're all state licensed by the Department of Social Services. And so we're trying to make sure that everyone is aware of us so that we can also help.
Right.
Benny, I'm going to leave my contact information. My email's the best way to reach me in the chat box here.
Okay.
Do me a favor and email me, and then we can set up a meeting next week and then talk more and see where we are and who I can connect you with. Because like I tell Tori, what we need the most is places to place people in.
Yes.
So if I can have these housing navigators reach out to you and people have vouchers and are ready to go in and, they fit in the criteria that falls into the community that you serve, the specific, people that you, there's definitely a connection that can be made there. So let's meet, let's talk, and then we can definitely go from there.
Yeah, you'll see when we meet with him next week, the gaps that he has and the issues that are occurring with him. But so far, lately, they've had like 27 facilities that have closed. And that's really unacceptable. So as bad as we need the beds, so maybe some of those facilities, we may be able to repurpose them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something else we can talk about and think about as far as the resource centers and the services that we can offer to the community.
Yeah, Benny, because even if I can't do anything, at the council level, I can connect you with the mayor's office and their interim department there, and maybe that can be something that they can look at and maybe work that way. So there's definitely a conversation to be had. There's definitely solutions to be found. So yeah, shoot me over an email, and we can talk more and get more into depth about you.
Oh, okay. Because we were founded by the LA County Department of Mental Health. So we, our members, we take in those clients, but we can also take in a lot of the homeless population that are living
you
with
work with
serious mental illness.
so do you take people from Housing for Health or DHS funded, DMH funded at all?
These individuals are severely mentally ill that we
Okay.
take. So most of them are on Social Security. They are
Okay.
Right.
unable to
Yeah,
work.
okay.
But Betty,
Yeah.
I bet you somewhere in your bylaws somewhere you'll be able to take from DMH or the other one that Roger mentioned. This is
We
just a
do.
matter
We
of
have
policy and
we have
procedure.
over 350 members, and we have lots of different facilities.
Right.
So we can find somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Exactly.
because a lot of time it's a lot of these folks that don't know how to advocate for themselves that are the hardest to house. So if you have
Yeah.
those facilities available, then we need to make those connections ASAP, and we need to find the gaps and fill them.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We will.
And I know, Roger, you didn't get a chance to read my article yet, but one of my primary things is the database that LA
Los
US
Angeles.
that the school district has the database for the homeless children. So if we house the children, the family will come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
we gotta have more
you touched on a good subject there, Tori. We are also. It's a little hard to move on it quick, but we're also looking at working with LAUSD in conjunction of, identifying these students that they know are homeless. A lot of these school campuses open their campuses early for these kids to, go in there and shower in the morning.
Yes.
And, get something to eat extra in the morning. So we want to empower those kids, right? We want to make sure that these kids are being set up to be self-sustainable, not just for them, but for their families in the future and their community, so that in turn they can become advocates for their community and representatives for their community, to be able to identify resources that are there and no one's using, such as Benny's places, right? I'm not saying that everybody's going to use them, but that's an example of resources that are underutilized, because we don't know that they're out there. So we're looking at that end. We have a liaison that works with LAUSD as well. So we've thought of everything. I'm a firm believer that if we want to nip homelessness, we got to start at the crib, right? We got to start.
That's right.
When we're young, because a lot of vocational training was taken away from schools, and a lot of these kids nowadays, they're not self-sustainable if they don't have an iPad or a phone in front of them. They don't know how to memorize phone numbers. They don't know how to write in cursive, and all these things are shocking to me, because when you speak to the young population that is homeless out there, they don't know any trades. They don't know how to fend for themselves. And, they're not hireable people. They're not desirable people, unfortunately, for the workforce. And most of them are past the age that anybody wants to take a chance and train them. And that right there is what's difficult for me to see day to day, when I know that someone's bodily able to do something, but no one will take a chance on them. So we thought of that. We're having those conversations, but it's the wheels of justice move so slow, and it's frustrating. But
I know.
We're out there. Tori, you're the little sensei here, so I got you, girl.
I think we can't put them in that box. Of course, this is part of general public at this point. These are general public comments that's not on the agenda. But I did a project at Lincoln High School one summer, I guess, and that's how I discovered the homelessness database, because I was working on the systems they had.
They're very protective about that list, by the way.
And you have to be confidential, because you don't want the other children teasing the children and all of that, right? So what I did was, when I found out who it was, and I just happened to know the children because they was always at my desk every day. So I went up and down Broadway for the businesses over there, because I speak enough Spanish to get by, right? So I had them donate to the families for the holidays, and they did it. And they adopted a couple of those children. And and come to find out, some of the businesses knew some of the children. And so then they introduced them to their family, and they helped them out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about communication, right? We're getting the right people on the ground to do the right thing. One of the things we piloted with when MRT first took over was the Rise LA program, where we motivated businesses to hire people that were formerly homeless, people that were formerly incarcerated. That worked, but we realized how much more work people need to assimilate back to being a productive member of society. Especially when they come from incarceration, There's
Yes.
no rehabilitation going on in prisons. It's all systematic to keep them there, and it's very sad. But when it comes to our homeless community, I think that I mentioned this Tuesday, Tori. We're catching up as we go, because I think
Right.
we caught up to the homelessness issue too late. But I'm happy where we are. I'm very confident that where we're going from now that Mayor Bass is here forward, I think we'll be a lot more successful, and our city will see a lot bigger difference quicker than we have.
Yeah. Well, I know you have a few more minutes. I want you to hear Elle speak. She's going to give us some
Yeah.
real life experience and share with us what she feels comfortable sharing. And did you have a question for Roger L before you get started?
Not now that things are growing, as far as Benny, in which I apologize for calling you Danny. That just expanded, my mind a little bit more because of his position of possible housing for the homeless. Now, you guys also touched into formerly incarcerated, which I am. From my perspective, I'm here at one of the downtown women's facility sites. I'll leave it at that. And it's a brilliant experience. It's a second launch, and the stability factor, which gives you your own space, and you can get your thoughts back in order and just rethink fresh thoughts. Is a beautiful thing, because when you're out there and you have nowhere to be, you can't think correctly.
Right.
I'm in a position to do that. Secondly, he had mentioned about the RV sites, right? I think some of those things are deplorable, what I see. However, I remember that Project Room Key had a part in which they were housing people with RVs.
Yeah.
And that was a good idea
Right.
as well, if it's done correctly.
Right.
Yeah, during COVID.
Yeah, that was brilliant, because you have a lot of people that don't want, a lot of people out here that I've met, for some reason, I do not know why, they don't feel comfortable like in an environment of like an apartment type housing, or enclosed like that. They feel more comfortable, like a lot of vets, in that type of setting, right? As long as it's really regulated, secure, updated, the whole 9 yards. And there's a million RVs, that are brand new, that are available as well. That would be a good avenue. And I think that Benny's is excellent for the fact that you have families out here, and then in what do you call it? What do you call your
Which one?
boarding care? Boarding care.
Boarding care, Benny, yes.
Yes. Boarding care can get families in one room. They could be together if it's like a mother and a daughter, or mother and a son, or husband and wife and a child. That's idea, and
that would be.
Yeah, that's idea for that setting as well, for a family, because a lot of places like this where I stay, which is like a hotel, which would be good, but a lot of people don't allow that many people, in one room. So if the family unit could stay together.
Now, the funny part, Elle, do you feel like telling them how you were chosen to be in interim housing? How were you selected, or if you want to say how you ended up there in the first place?
I'm really unique. You know why?
Yes.
I had a roommate at the time before COVID, and then I found I was watching the news. Governor Newsom is brilliant. He's so brilliant. I watched the news. He was housing Northern California. Then he did San Diego. Then he said he was coming to Southern California. Wow. I got on his website. So yeah, immediately. Then I read the first COVID testing was going to be the first Liaison sign up, which was at Gladys Park. And I went to the first COVID testing, which was like the fire department was conducting that. And then Liaison had their people.
Okay.
I signed up that first day. I told so many people about it, right? They were getting matched in hotels and I wasn't. It took almost 100 days for me to get matched. I just don't know why. So I mean, I made phone calls after phone calls. Every testing, I was there to talk with the supervisor. Finally, I was matched, and I was at the LA Grand.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I was at the LA Grand for a while, and something happened. So Lasha put me over at the Mayfair, but I was walking to the Mayfair one day, and I saw the site that I'm at, right?
Right.
And I said, wow, that looks like a Project Room Key. That hotel was just modeled and sold twice, right?
Right.
So a week later, they had announced that they were closing. The way they were closing was not cool because they were putting people out, like giving them notice on 1 day notice, and people were it was cruel. God told me to go back. Where I am. I went back. I got names and numbers, and I called, and I was successful.
Wow.
Nobody matched me but God.
Oh wow, yeah, that's for sure. Now, did you hear that, Roger? You know the Mayfair had about 15 floors of people, right? So one lady in particular that we had in Project Room Key before, who had to get put out on the street in the rain, I helped her, with furniture and truck and everything, right? You remember that, don't you? And so it was very interesting because a lot of their items were stolen by the staff.
Mine was too, but
Yeah, I know you're one of them. And I knew to be true because you were like the fifth person that told me, and you guys didn't even know each other. And so I was like, wow, okay. So I do know it to be true, but we have to figure out how to monitor that better,
Bad behavior, bad management from Salvation Army was very bad management at the LA Grand, and it was.
But Salvation Army is not managing the LA Grand now. It's the Wine Guard,
I
right?
heard, which is great. Which is great because so many people went through a horrible thing there as well.
Okay,
and, but hey, it's not all like that. One thing I have to say is, you're gonna get a few bad apples, but if you do the right thing and talk to the right people immediately and not let them play you for your intelligence, then you'll be successful. Because I went to LA Can, and one of the members there represented me, called Lasha immediately. They never let me go one night without a place to stay.
Oh yeah, I know Pete. Yeah, that's how that works. That's a good thing. Well, we titled this segment of it, "The Road to Success, the Real Story," because you are a part of the real story, and you have a positive outlook, and you know that you've been pretty much helping yourself to navigate to get to interim housing right now. Because
Continue.
No, I was gonna say I was there for Project Room Key before you guys came through, and now it's interim housing, under new leadership. And so, how soon do you anticipate getting your permanent housing?
I would say there's people who've been here longer than me who haven't obtained it yet, and so I would say next 3 to 6 months at the most. I would hope no longer.
Okay. Well, one thing, you have a comfortable place to be.
Exactly. exactly. And it's gonna get hot out here. People are gonna be out on these streets burning up, which is just horrible.
Yeah, so they're working on it. So tell thank you to Roger and Benny and everybody. Roger has to leave at 7. So if anyone has one more question, that's it. Donna, you have any questions for Roger? Is Donna there? Yeah,
Yeah, she's there. I mean,
she's there somewhere. Okay, any question for Roger? Anything? You sure? Okay. Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I just want to say that since I've been in the stability position, it's enabled me to get my medical situation happening with insurance and seeing the doctor, which is very, very important. And, with your medical and dental and everything happening, next thing is even before I'm placed, I could go to work.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's how I'm thinking right now. That's how I'm thinking.
That's a good thought. That's good thinking.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Wonderful.
Yes. let's give Elle applause.
Yay.
We do have a medical doctor on the call as well. And he's gone out with me walking and talking to the people and seeing if anybody needed any immediate attention. So
you know what? I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real honest with you.
Okay.
But the health person that was in charge when they came over here, they're slipping. So it was advantageous for this friend of yours, the doctor, to organize the different parts that function to come up here or in any other site as a team and offer the free medical aspect of it, because it's a really good way. It's a really good way.
I have another group of doctors that are mobile.
That's great.
Yesterday, but in order for us to do anything on that side, I keep myself separate, right?
You understand that?
I keep this aspect separate. But
I understand that. And like I said, other sites too.
If we do anything over there, I have to get permission from
I understand.
Yeah. So we can talk about that later. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, but other sites too. I mean, it's just a thing for people. On my end of it, as a recipient, it's much needed move health care.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
It's a golden goose too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your comments. Feel free to stay on and listen to Benny's presentation, and anyone else who wishes to say anything. Let's give Roger a hand for stopping in and giving us the council district update.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Enjoy
Good
the rest
night,
of your
Roger.
day. See you tomorrow. Sorry.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Benny, you ready? Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we're ready when you are. If you have sharing privileges. And
right.
So excited.
Well, first of all, good evening to everyone. And thank you for having me back this week. And I would like to start this evening's presentation with showing my screen. So for those who have not met me again, and I think Donna came on a little later, but my name is Benny Tinson, and I'm the executive director of LARCA, Licensed Adult Residential Care Association. We are a 501c3. We officially became a 501c3 today, and we are community-based. We're a nonprofit organization and a membership association. So we represent over 350 state licensed adult residential facilities and residential care facilities for the elderly here in Los Angeles County. All of our facilities are state licensed, and we provide care and housing for those who are considered low income, Angelenos, and living with serious mental illness. I'm coming to you tonight because I want to make sure that our community is aware of the crisis that is occurring here in our county. We, at a time when we're talking about how to bring in people indoors, we have a number of facilities that currently house those who are living with serious mental illness that are closing. Now, this is a population that is at risk of homelessness. And so oftentimes we see in our community those who are perhaps sleeping on the sidewalks, or they are walking on the street talking to themselves. There's a large percentage of those who are homeless that are also living with a mental illness. And so these facilities provide the supportive care that these residents need. And they provide things such as medication management to make sure that they can remain stable, and also food preparation and helping these residents meet some of their basic daily needs. And so these facilities are closing. We had 27 facilities close that housed this population in the last quarter. So in the first 3 months of 2023, we saw 27 of these facilities close. We're still trying to find out what happened to all the residents. We have tried contacting some of the previous owners that have closed, and we've been unsuccessful. So it's really difficult for us at this time to determine just how many of these residents were placed. But we do know of some stories that we will be sharing of people who ended up on the street. And so that is what we want to prevent. And so now we have others that are also housed who are in facilities that are caring for people with serious mental illness that are also saying that they may close by the end of the year. So just to tell you a little bit about LARCA, and I will open it up for questions. We are a nonprofit organization that was formed through a partnership between the National Alliance on Mental Illness and the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health. So we represent Los Angeles County adult residential facilities, residential care facilities for the elderly. These are facilities that take care of those residents who are 59 and above. But we also have facilities, adult residential facilities that care for residents that are 18 to 59. All of our members are dedicated to providing housing and services to residents who are considered low income. The population that we're talking about, low income residents, we're talking about people who are 200% below the federal poverty line. These individuals have nothing, and they're oftentimes unable to work. And so they receive SSI, and they have a hard time finding anywhere to go because there are very few owners of facilities today that will take these residents. But our members of LARCA, they do take and care for and provide housing for these residents. These are our core functions. So we provide advocacy, education, and member benefits and discounts to our members. We are a membership organization, so we do represent the owners of these facilities, but we are also community-based, and so we also have friends of LARCA. We have community supporters that regularly advocate with us. And so we encourage you, if you are in the community and you care deeply about the need to house our residents, especially those who are living with mental illnesses, we would hope that you would also join us, and we'll give you more information on how you might become a member of LARCA. It is free of charge. And and we'll share more about that with you. But our mission is to serve our members and the community. So we champion, we fight, advocate fiercely for resources and funding for our facilities and their residents. We build increased public awareness and support for housing and health solutions that serve vulnerable, low-income adults and the elderly living with serious mental illness. Our facilities house over 15,000 residents, and so we're proud to say that we not only represent 350 state licensed facilities here in LA County, but we also represent over 15,000 low-income residents who are the residents in our facilities. And if you ever get a chance to ever go to a NAMI walk, you will be able to see all of us on display, because many of our residents will also come to the walk and participate in the walk along with the staff and the owners. It's really a sight to see. I would encourage you to join us. But our vision is to act as the voice for Los Angeles County licensed adult residential care facilities. And so we are out in the community advocating for these facilities to make sure that these facilities get the funding and the resources that they need to care for their residents. So let me tell you a little bit more about the crisis tonight, because this is something that I believe we should all care deeply about, especially in the African American community, because our people are disproportionately impacted with this issue of homelessness. And we oftentimes are diagnosed with mental illnesses like bipolar and schizophrenia. So we received word last month that 27 facilities had closed. There was a report that was published by the Department of Social Services Community Care Licensing Division. That is the state agency that regulates our facilities. They reported to us that there were 27 facilities that closed, and we began to sound the alarm to make sure that everyone at the county level as well as the city level, and we're coming down to the community to make sure that you also know that these facilities are closing, and it's putting at risk those who are already housed at potential of becoming unhoused and going onto the street. So on one hand, we're talking about how do we get people off the street, and now we have thousands of people tonight who are potentially at risk of becoming homeless. Let's get to the crux of the matter. Why are these facilities closing? We also want to bring to the community to make sure that you are aware of the inequitable and discriminatory system that the state of California has established and set up in this state. The system that the state has set up speaks to the very heart of what we think and how we treat those who are living with a mental illness. If your doctor diagnoses you, it's all about the diagnoses of your doctor. So if your doctor diagnoses you with a mental illness, the state of California is going to provide for you $44 per day. That is what the state of California expects for an adult to live on and to have care, is $44 a day. We know that $44 a day is not a lot of money in Los Angeles County. The average motel room in Los Angeles, we're not talking about a 4-star or 5-star, we're talking about a sleazy motel, is $125 a night. These residents, they have to have support. So they not only need housing, but they need staff support that adult residential facilities and residential care facilities for the elderly, state licensed, that are more commonly known as boarding cares, provide. Now, if your doctor diagnoses you with a developmental disability or an intellectual disability, Then the state gives you $177 to $384 per day. So these individuals, they don't have a harder time trying to find a place. But if you're diagnosed with a mental illness, it's oftentimes even hard to find somewhere who's willing to take you because they know you just don't simply have the money. And so this population that we're talking about, those who are diagnosed with serious mental illness, are overwhelmingly African American. This is a issue that disproportionately impacts African Americans. But mental illness impacts every walk of life, every ethnicity, every income level, every zip code in the county. There's some family tonight that is dealing with a relative that is living with a serious mental illness. And so what we don't need at this time is these facilities closing, but it is because of this inequitable and discriminatory system that's in place that is causing these residents to lose housing and lose the care that they need. So here's a sample budget. This is what it takes to run one of these facilities. Our facilities range from anywhere from 6 beds to 100 beds in a facility. And so you may have one of our facilities on your block and you just don't know it. They look just like a single family home. But this is a sample budget. As you know, you have to pay staff, utilities, water, mortgage, all of those things cost over $22,000 a month. Okay? If you have 6 residents and they're getting $44 a day, that comes out to be $1,320. The revenue you have coming in is $7,920. Your expenses for the month, $22,000. And so it's no coincidence that these facilities are closing. This is one of our members, Desiree Alvarado, and her mother. Desiree is a member of the LARCA Board of Directors. We are governed by 11 Board of Directors, 9 of whom are actual operators and owners of facilities that care for low-income people living with serious mental illness. And so Desiree has a home in Pasadena. She was featured in the Los Angeles Times this past Saturday, and she is one of our members that is considering closing by the end of the year if she does not, and our members do not receive some type of relief in order to prevent them from closing. And so the LA Times did a special on Desiree and our membership and asked the question, can state aid save these facilities? And so it was a very good article, and I hope that you will have a chance to read it. I will make it available to you. One of the things that we found, and one of the things that you will find in the article, if you get a chance to read the article in the LA Times, is our comments in regards to the money that has already been allocated from the state. And so we hear a lot of talk about there's billions of dollars that have been allocated from the state to deal with homelessness. And so we started to dig a little bit deeper to find out actually of this money that has been allocated from the state to the county, which is called the Community Care Expansion Funds. Now, these funds were allocated by the state for capital improvements to help members, facilities like the members of LARCA, with improving their facilities, because many of the facilities have fallen in disrepair because they're simply not making enough money. And so as a way of trying to address this problem, the legislature appropriated this money for capital improvements. But then we started digging a little bit deeper to see, well, who's eligible of our membership to actually apply for this money. We found that of our 350 members that we represent, only 37 of them were even eligible to apply for these funds because of the rules that have been established here in LA County on who is eligible to apply and receive these funds. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time to bore you tonight, but the crux of the matter here is that many of our facilities in Los Angeles County that currently need funding in order to remain open at this time are actually being excluded from the money that has been appropriated by the state. And so, we have raised concerns from the beginning because a lot of the community care expansion funds that was allocated for development of these facilities has gone all to large developers. And so we want to make sure that the billions of dollars that are being allocated by the state are coming down and trickling down to the people who need it the most. And so the reason why they are closing is because the county has set up this system where you must serve at least one of the county clients. And many of the facilities here in Los Angeles County do not currently serve a county client. And so that makes them ineligible to receive this batch of money. So we are appealing to the state at this point because it's going to take the state legislature and the governor to act legislatively to prevent further closures of the facilities here in Los Angeles County. Now, there are over 3,400 facilities that have been identified by the state legislature and the Department of Social Services as facilities that are at risk of potential closure tonight.
What?
And so there are just over 3,400 in Los Angeles County. There's almost over 13,000 of these facilities across the state. And so this is a huge issue that we all must be aware of because this affects about, we estimate over 1.2 million people across the state. Yes, it impacts us here in LA County, but it also impacts people all across California. And so what we're asking the governor to do tonight is provide $2,000 immediately per bed for each state licensed facility with 70% of their census on SSI and living with serious mental illness, with no other supplemental assistance, including all AB 1766 population facilities. So those are all the facilities that have been identified by the Department of Social Services as potential closures. We want $2,000 to go to them immediately with no strings attached. This would be stimulus money. We understand the issue with the governor in terms of committing any additional money. We're not asking for any new money. We understand the governor is crying broke. So we're not asking for any money. We want to make that clear tonight, and we want to make that clear to the community, and we're making that clear to the legislators. And so what we're asking for is the millions and billions of dollars that you have allocated towards capital improvements. Because you see, the state was focused on building housing. And so we're trying to redirect their attention and say, hey, redirect some of that money away from capital improvements and building, and let's put it on people. Let's make sure that these people have the care that they need. These people cannot go, the population that we're talking about cannot go into a motel or into a shelter. Many of our residents, they are on psychotropic medications. These are the people that you see pushing baskets up and down the street. And so there's nobody out there right now, very few people we do have, and that's why I wanted to get across to Roger tonight. We do have facilities that are willing to take people, even if they're receiving the $44 a day. And so we want to, make sure that you're aware that these facilities are closing, and we've got to push our governor and the legislature to make sure that we prevent people who are already housed from becoming homeless. And so our
Yes.
second demand of the governor and the legislature is to implement what's called the 1915C waiver so that we get rid of this discriminatory system that we currently have in place that treats people with serious mental illness and mental illness different from how we treat people with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities. So just to give you a sense of the type of diseases that I'm talking about. So if you have a developmental disability and you are suffering from a physical disability, then you get more money, right? If you are diagnosed with a mental illness, well, the state gives you the bare minimum, which is the $44 a day. What we're saying is until we can figure out the system of what's going to work best in the state, let's put everybody on an equal plane and let's treat everybody equally, because these residents who are living with serious mental illness, they also need a lot of care just to meet their basic needs.
Uh,
So we have such a low percentage of our members that are even eligible for to receive the monies that the state has already allocated. And so that's why we need to really push the governor and the legislature to make this money available to our members immediately. Again, with no strings attached, just to prevent further closures. Because the last thing that we want to do is put more people out on the street when Mayor Bass, and we just heard tonight, Councilmember Hutt is working to move people indoors. So we also want to invite you as a member of the community to also join us. Tori will be going with us to Sacramento. We are calling it a 911 crisis call to action. We're going up to Sacramento to advocate for our facilities and our residents to make sure that they remain open, and that we get what we are demanding tonight, our two requests for more funding and equal treatment. And so we will be in Sacramento in August 22nd through the 23rd, advocating at the Capitol. We'll also be in town that week with our partners from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So there will be a lot of mental health advocates who will also be in Sacramento for the entire week, actually. And so we want to really draw attention to this issue and the need, because we have been talking about closures of these facilities since 2009. Most of our residents were at some time, if they have been with their facilities for a long time, some of them came directly from facilities like Metropolitan State Hospital. And so as Metropolitan State Hospital and other institutions like that closed around the state, these residents were moved into the community. And now these homes that we've provided for them in this state are now closing. So they go from the institution, they go to these homes, and now suddenly the home that they've been in for the last 20, 30 years is now at risk of closure. So we want to bring this issue to Sacramento and to our governor. So we want to make sure our legislature acts. And if you want to join us, please let us know. These are some of our sponsors, just to let you know. Membership in LARCA is free, and we're grateful for our sponsors who have made it so. The Hilton Foundation, Cedars-Sinai, National Alliance on Mental Illness, Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, and we have many other community supporters individual and groups and faith-based organizations that are also supporting us. So we hope that you can join us. And I'm going to end it there and see if there's any questions, questions, and if I can provide some answers, and if there's anything you want me to talk about.
Let's give Kenny a hand. Wow, that was really a lot of information. But any questions while we have him here?
I have a question. Out of the 27 closures that community care licensing indicate, was it due to funding purposes, or was there like sometimes these facilities are not up to par, they're not treating the residents well, they're not getting what they need? Did they indicate what was majority of the reason why these identified 27 facilities were closed?
Yes, we don't know exactly. We do know that 16 of the 27 were voluntary closures. We are still trying to go through the list and get in contact with some of these previous owners. It's been really difficult because, people's numbers change and it's very difficult to get in touch with them. But the ones that we have been able to get in touch with, overwhelmingly of the 16, I would say at least about half of those at this point are saying because of the low reimbursement rate. And this is what our members are saying. We have over 350 owners that are members of LARCA. I just met with our board today, and many of our board members are also struggling. And so, our facilities, most of them are 6 beds or less. And so our owners, they live in the facility, many of them with these residents. And so they're just tired. I mean, many of them are up in age now. This is a business, a small business that many women, and so most of our membership, over 60% of our members are minority women who decided to open up this home to take care of residents. And so they're really tired because you can only, stretch the money so far. They do a really good job of trying to cut back on groceries, but we're required to feed all of the residents 3 times a day and provide also 2 snacks. That is by state law. They also have to provide a staff 24 hours a day. They're licensed, and so they have to meet all the requirements of CCLD. And so it's become a tough business to run. And so many of them, if they have refinanced their homes, or if we have those who have just entered into the business, it is really tough because their mortgages are eating up, the money that they're receiving. And so there's really no money left over once you pay the mortgage, to pay the staff, and then also to buy groceries. And so that's why many of them are just forced to close.
So I have a question, Benny, really quick. Why don't you call La Casa tomorrow? Because that's the new agency with a couple of the county supervisors and a couple of community members who have vowed to stop, prevent closures, prevent losing beds, and etc. So you need to call them like ASAP. And then also Steve Bradford, he may be able to help, because he's been giving out funding to different agencies lately to help them to progress.
Yeah, and one of our members, Miss Beverly Brinson, some of you all may know her because she's the owner of the local M&Ms in Inglewood. She's also one of our LARCA members. She owns a facility, and I was just talking with Beverly last week. She said she's able to keep her facility open because of M&Ms, because
Right.
M&Ms has been successful. That is the only reason why she is continuing to operate her facility, because many of these facilities, they're operating at a loss. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's just the reality tonight. And so we are, I have been sounding this alarm since Last year, when I became executive director in March 2022, when I first started reading the reports, and I mean, we need to be alarmed because the face of homelessness in Los Angeles are older women. And we've got to make sure that women who are living with mental illness are getting into permanent supportive housing where they can have medication management. And so we have even a bigger problem. The bigger problem is that we have very few facilities that are even willing to take women, especially women that are living with mental illness and only receiving the $44 a day. We have such a hard time finding anywhere for them to go. I stay on the phone. I get calls. I'm calling around trying to find housing, for women. So we can't afford any more closures.
No, you really can't. Any questions? Anyone? Donna? Anybody? I don't know where L'Oreal went, but
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. But let's give Benny a hand for that great presentation, very informative.
Absolutely.
And we gotta figure out, make those phone calls tomorrow, see if you can start that funding process before they office changes again. You never know. Any other current issue discussions anyone want to bring up? Amber, do you have any questions back there?
No.
Don't ask me 10 questions when we leave here. You can ask any question that's not on the agenda. You sure you don't have any?
No, I don't have.
Okay. Well, we may end a little early today. It looks like we really, our follow-up items for old business is ongoing. It's always going to be ongoing until we close some of these gaps. I will update you on the fact that we have 4 people that reached out to me, actually 6 this week. 2 single moms with 2 children each, 1 single senior, 1 single approximately 30-year-old, and I had 2 more that somebody brought to me. Well, it's a challenge. Everyone's different. I did find the single senior, brand new ADU, and we're just waiting on a permit. And we're gonna talk. I left a message for the council district for them yesterday. So we'll see if we can expedite that process because she could have just moved in. But instead of what happened to her, she'd been in her apartment for 21 years. The ceiling caved in on her twice. And so now she just said, I got to go. She moved. They're supposed to relocate her. But there's a gap right there because the place I found and the place that she left leaves her nowhere to go. Right? So you have a week or 2 that she could possibly be on the street if she didn't go to a shelter. But what I did do, I had a meeting with one of the agencies. They sent a check over. I got a notice to my church so that I can use some of those funds to help fill those gaps. So every day you're looking for a solution so someone's not on the street unnecessarily. And the other young lady, we found her a place last Sunday, but she told us that she had a slight mental illness. So the lady told her she couldn't come in after dark. She went to her storage, lost track of time, and now she has nowhere to live again because they figure she is incapable of following instructions, which I know she's not because every day I told her keep in touch and keep me updated on what's happening with her. Every day she gave me detailed instructions on what was happening with her. And so I know she follows instructions well. It's just that she really lost track of time, rumbling in her storage, trying to find her own blanket, her own sheets. When I know this lady had those things, your first night, you want to try to build a relationship instead of focusing on a blanket. But that's where mental illness comes in, the decision making or the lack thereof. So So she's back out there, and so we'll see what happens. But our church members gave her close to $100. At least she could have a hotel that night, or go to a hostel that's only like $25 a night. So she have a couple of days to work with until we see what. And then I have another young lady who she's willing to give her house up to one of the families, and she built an ADU in the back. It's really nice. And so we have options from our mom and pop relationships, but they need funding. So I'm able to have money right now to fund her for a month, but we'll just have to take it from there and see what happens.
I think somebody behind you has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, this is like a general question that probably everybody asks you or your agencies. Is that, where do you see, or what is the direct cause of homelessness? And why is it on the rise when all of these agencies say that they're doing things, they're doing innovative things to get people off the street? I'm having a problem trying to adjust to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm just trying to look at, I've heard all kind of reasons why people are homeless, but what is your analysis or opinion of that, given the fact that you're directly dealing with people because of this homelessness crisis?
Want me to answer that, or you want to answer it?
I mean, look, we could be here all night for me to answer that,
Right.
but let me try to
Right.
sum it up.
Well-
It is very complicated. All right, first of all, it is very complicated. You've got lots of issues that we are dealing with here that we call these are cascading. All right, we've got housing costs that are crazy right now. All right, because to be honest with you, salaries have not kept up. All right. So many families are struggling. I don't need to tell you that. All right. So we have high cost of housing. We also have a mental health crisis. This is probably the biggest, one of the biggest crises of our time is mental illness. So we've got housing, we got mental illness. We also have a drug epidemic that is gone wild with fentanyl, and so we have that going on. There's a lot of factors. We have a large incarcerated population. We could be here all night. I don't know where to start, but let me tell you, in terms of what is happening, I think we are coming into a point now with Mayor Bass that things are starting to come together. But government, to be honest with you, works very slow, and things have been uncoordinated. So I think we're recognizing here in Los Angeles County that we've got to do a better job of coordinating services. County's got to be talking to the city. City's got to be talking right into the neighborhood councils. We've all got to be talking to each other. We also have to bring in the nonprofits, the community-based, faith-based community. It takes everybody to really deal with this. But that's what I would say for now. I don't know, Tori, if there's anything somebody else could add, but it's going to take time for us to really see a big difference. But I think with Mayor Bass and the efforts that's going on now, it's a matter of us just coordinating better with the county and also getting more money. We can't do it without more money. All right. And that's going to take the federal government doing their part so that we can get more people off the street. But it's not just getting them off the street and into a temporary house or shelter. We've got to find permanent housing, okay? And so we've got a lot of problems right now on the process to go about even building affordable housing. It's very slow. It's very complicated. You have to go to various sources to find the funding to be able to do that. And it takes years, okay? And at the same time, we have thousands and thousands of people who are on the street or with their families all crammed up, waiting for this housing. And so those are the problems we have. We need funding, we need better coordination. I think if we can tackle those two things, we'll start to see hopefully some improvement. I don't know, Tori?
Well, yeah, and there's a factor of greed. You have 14,000 going in, but you may have 700 coming out. Give you an example, the Barrington Square units. The landlord wants to put out 577 units, which means that's at least 700 to 800 people at one location. They're trying to do that legally under the Ellis Act, saying that he needs to replace or install fire alarms on all units. So that's just one location. So imagine that's 700 potential people that's gonna be out of housing who's been living there forever, and they've been living there so long that he's trying to get market rate for these units. So that's just one. Then you have the ones over here that they just finished working on by Dorsey. That was what, 400 units? So they were able to get a lot of the city departments together and make them fix all the things that they needed to fix. Why am I having feedback?
You're not. Ellen.
Okay. And so there's a lot of people coming out on the street, being put out. You got landlords trying to raise the rent, and it's a lot of different reasons. And so then you have landlords that won't even accept them because of the fact that there's no guarantee that if there's some violence or destruction to their property, they'd rather leave them empty. You have tons of units that are empty all over the city that they will not house the unhoused because they're not sure of the behaviorisms. So one of my suggestions for that is use interim housing as a stable point. If I went to work today, I can tell you who's gonna be destructive and who's not. I can tell you what's gonna happen, who's violent and who's not. We should get a letter of referral and give to the landlords and let them know that. But never in a million years, I can go on and on, but we had a damage last week that was pretty shocking. That one of the animals ate up the whole bathroom door. It's like, wow, I've never seen anything like it. So you wouldn't anticipate that. So you got to make sure that those that have animals or things like that don't leave them home by themselves for days without food and water and things like that, because they will get out. It depends on what type of pet it is. So those are things that you have to consider. So there's a lot of empty units. So I don't believe that we really have the shortage that we do. We just have a landlord willingness problem, and we have the lack of communication with the mom and pop beds and the beds that you have. So there's a multitude of reasons. If we could connect those dots, we'd be in.
I have a question.
Yes.
Was it this week the newspaper came out and I wanted to know the exact amount? How much was it from the homeless count? How many people did they count in total of homelessness?
Well, remember, I've been doing this about 8 years now, 8 to 10 years. The city went up 9%. The county went up 10%. So that's almost 20% more than what you had before. So you have to take COVID into consideration. That count was done in March. We normally do it in January every year, and the numbers come out in May. This time they came out in July.
Yeah.
And also remember, whatever number is reported, there's more, because we're just doing random count. The count is random. So whatever count we had is always moving. But ever since I've done this count, it's averaging 75,000 But I did a analysis for the past 6 years. For the past 6 years, it's about 94,000 people. And I'm counting city and county together. So we really, really, really have work to do. And I think we just need to simplify this and get processes in place and get everybody on the same page. But
Yeah.
we
And
got
you know, the
our
other
own
thing,
efforts.
Tori,
Yes.
the other thing that we want to talk about, and I hope that I can join you on another show because we don't have time to talk about it tonight
Right.
because
We
we talked
almost, yeah, we
a
got
lot in
two.
we've talked a lot in the city and in the county
Right.
in our community about rent control and all of those things. But we also want to explore some innovative things about how we can get more people to own. And so I hope to come back to you with some things that we are thinking in LARCA because we're also looking at how do we enter into the housing space because we need to
Right.
start talking more about innovative ways that we can get people. I'm talking about regular people like you and I to be able to
Yeah.
become homeowners. And there's some innovative things that we can do. And those are the things that we want to talk about is not only permanent supportive housing for those people who need care and support, but also
Right.
other forms of housing also that we can create that can also be owned by the community.
Yes.
Okay? So
Yes.
we want to talk about that.
Well, after we meet with our officials that we're supposed to meet with, come back with some new news and some new solutions,
We want to talk,
then we're gonna bring
we
it
want to
back.
talk ownership.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what's happening. A lot of land trust partnerships are happening with tenants now, and so that's a good thing. So the renters will be able to partially own their units.
Yes.
So that will help tremendously.
Yeah.
So we can bring one of the guys on that's spearheading that one month, and then we'll get some of his insight and show how that's working. Okay. Elle, you have any last few words that you wish to share with anyone, or any solution that from your perspective? She didn't answer me. What do you say? What's that?
That's to ask her to unmute.
Oh,
She's muted on her.
there's
Can you hear me? Can you hear
yes,
me?
now we can.
Okay, I apologize. I have a question about what you said about the people who are going to be evicted because of the Ellis Act. Don't if in fact repairs need to be done, aren't they responsible for relocating these people?
Yeah, they have an attorney. They're gonna work it out, I'm sure. But just the mere fact that he's trying to do it with that many people
That is
is
so sick.
unheard
That's
of.
egregious.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, I mean that doesn't even make sense with
But that
fire
just
alarm.
goes to show you how people believe they can do whatever they think they can do, and no one's gonna do anything.
Right.
Out of 577 units, a lot of people gonna go just leave because they don't want no problems. But a lot of the group of people are organizing with their neighbors, and they're getting a class action together.
Good. Well, I just want to say that in my situation, it's been tremendous help to my life, and I tend to carry on, and go forward. And it's been a support.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey, and we hope that. Go ahead.
No, I said thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Right.
So you're an example of those ready to be housed permanently.
Absolutely.
I know you're ready.
And then get involved in helping.
Yes. That'll work. Okay, you're helping tonight.
God bless everyone.
Your story. You hear me? Elle?
Yes.
I said
Can you
you're
hear me?
helping tonight just by sharing your story.
Well, I'm looking forward to more. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So everyone, it is 7:54. We're gonna go ahead and adjourn. And we look forward for the next couple of days, a meeting with the officials that can make a difference. And see what we can do with some of these solutions for immediate action, some of the small things that we can do right now. And one of the things that I'm proposing is that we have a resource center that's open at 4:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock in the morning when everybody else is closed. If you're gonna have a 24/7 outreach team, you better have a 24/7 location to get some help. So, it only makes sense. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing you in 4 weeks.